This next dynasty was hanging on for a little bit, but it looks like the dynasty is over. Texas went into Tuscaloosa, and for the first time in nearly 3 years, Alabama went down at home, and it wasn't even close. Alabama made it somewhat close in the third quarter, but Quinn Ewers, who I was not sure about before this game, made some big-time throws. And I said today on Brand's World, college football is in a really good space right now. You got Georgia, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Texas.
Florida State.
You got a lot of schools in a lot of different regions with a chance to potentially win the national championship. It's great for the sport. The days of Nick Saban dominating the SEC is over. The Alabama Dynasty is over. There's a chance they lose by 2 or 3 games, and you got to recruit a quarterback. That quarterback for Alabama cannot throw the football. Jalen Milroe cannot throw the football. You watch him, when he trouts back, he is immediately looking to run. And I get it. Again, we just talked about this day and age in football, you want a mobile quarterback, but he was not accurate. He was not looking to run the football. And I was impressed with Texas. Unlike last year where they sort of settled for field goals, they seemed a little bit of afraid of Bryce Young and Bama. This year, from kickoff, from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, Texas was more physical. They were ready to play. They were not scared of Bama, and they had the mentality. Steve Sarkisian had that team ready. They were going to go in, and they were going to beat Alabama. They have proven themselves as potential CFP contenders.
Yes. So Alabama this week is at South Florida. I think Alabama's going to win that one fairly easily. They're favored. They're a 32.5-point favorite.
I would take Bama on that spread just because I think Saban's going to get pissed off. They probably roll 50-0. Go ahead.
Okay. Here's where things get tricky because then they go into SEC play. They're at home against Ole Miss next week. That's going to be a tough game. At Mississippi State, I would say Alabama should win that one. At Texas A&M, Alabama should win that one. Home against Arkansas, Alabama should win. Home against Tennessee. I don't know. We'll have to see. And then home against LSU. Okay. I could see Alabama winning that one. Home against Chattanooga. And then the Iron Bowl.
So they don't play LSU till late in the year, or what about later in the year?
November 4th is the LSU game.
Okay, see, Brian Kelly and them are going to be pissed off because of the way they lost that opening week to Florida State. We know LSU shocked them last year by going for 2. That was an incredible call. In Bama, I don't know, but Bama's got a chance. It was 2 or 3 games on the schedule, absolutely.
What do you think about the Tennessee game in Alabama on October 21st?
I don't know much about Tennessee this year, admittedly. Do they have a quarterback?
I have no idea. Right now, according to the ESPN matchup predictor, Alabama has an 85% chance to win that game against Tennessee.
So basically, Tennessee's not that good then this year.
They're number 11 in the country. They're at Florida this week. But getting back to, you know who else you could throw into the discussion here? Not just Alabama. What about Clemson and Dabo Sweeney?
No. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying no. I'm not saying including them as a college football playoff contender. No. I'm saying the question at the bottom says, is Alabama dynasty over?
Absolutely. Their dynasty was over last year. No, they're done. Dabo cannot recruit without Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. I think you could easily include Clemson into that same discussion.
Clemson's dynasty was over last year. Bama tried to hang on, and I made the argument. Bama was at 5 or 6 last year. I thought Bama should have been in over TCU, and I'll argue that any day over anybody. Never put a soft-ass Big 12 team. I know they beat Michigan somehow barely because you get a month to prepare for the college football playoff for the semifinal, which just doesn't seem fair. It's awfully weird scheduling. That's why the semifinal game is always weird. You get 2 weeks to prepare for the national championship, but you get a month to prepare for the semifinal game. Doesn't make any sense. But anyway, now it's official. Bryce Young is gone. Bama's done. Clemson's been done because they don't have a quarterback. If they get a quarterback, they might have a chance. But we're seeing now with NIL and the recruiting that the talent now is more spread out, and Kirby Smart's taking a lot of Bama guys at Georgia with him, and Bama just cannot hang with Georgia. And you again,
Right.
Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, your team, Penn State. There's a lot of teams out
Florida
there with a chance to
State.
win. I don't buy Florida State. They had a nice win week 1. I don't buy them as legitimate contenders.
Ooh, okay.
Well,
What about USC?
I buy USC because they have the man, the number 1 pick in the 2023 NFL draft. We already know it. I don't buy the story about him not wanting to go play for the Cardinals because that's what that story is all about, because we all know the Cardinals are getting the number 1 pick. Caleb Williams will be the number. You can start the print jerseys now. You can get this tape up and you can start printing jerseys now. Caleb Williams will be an Arizona Cardinal next year.
Okay, let me transition. How about Coach Prime and
Let's transition.
And those Colorado Buffaloes?
I gotta tell you, this is one of the most fascinating stories in the last decade. Not only in college football, forget that, sports in general. So do you know, before the year, analysts were saying Deion Sanders' Colorado team was literally going to have 2 wins on their resume. They already have 2. There are people that have gone from they're going to win 2 games to they're going to make the college football playoff. The interesting thing is going to be when Deion Sanders and those kids go up to USC in a couple of weeks.
Actually, no. USC comes to them.
Oh, does USC come to Colorado? Okay,
Yep.
I knew that they were playing. I didn't know what side it was going to be in.
Yeah.
But
first, they have to get through Colorado State this week, which they should win fairly easily. But then next week, they have to go up to Eugene, to Autzen Stadium, to take on Bo Nix and the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, I'm not a big believer in Oregon. They've always been a finesse college team. They've never been for real. Bo Nix is decent. By the way, how great's the Pac-12 quarterback play? Now every team's leaving the Pac-12.
Yeah, now it's going to be the Pac-2 because Stanford and Cal are headed for the ACC, which makes no sense, but whatever.
I personally think if Sanders and those guys go up to Oregon, they are, I have no words. They're mentally tough. They're physically tough. And the most impressive part about it, he's doing this with 70% of the roster being from the transfer portal.
Yeah. Think about what Travis Hunter, what the heck is this kid?
He's going to play corner in the NFL. I'm not in love with him playing both sides of the ball. I get it's a fun story.
It's amazing what he's doing.
It's amazing, but at the end of the day, it reminds me a lot of like college players that aren't going to be great NFL players. The kid can do great things on both sides of the ball, but what's it going to matter when you get to the big leagues?
It shows that he's versatile, but think about this. Colorado right now has 2 of the top Heisman favorites on their roster, Travis Hunter, and my God, I don't care that he's Deion Sanders' son. Forget that for a moment. Shedeur Sanders is absolutely balling right now. Think about it.
And by the way, they have a great offensive coordinator, Sean Lewis. He was the former head coach at Kent State. Brought Dustin Crum to where he was. Brought that Kent State franchise back to relevance. The same guy who I mentioned beat Jordan Love in that bowl game a couple years ago. He is now the OC for Colorado.
And think about this for a minute. They went into Fort Worth, Texas in week 1 and went toe-to-toe with the national runner-up from last year. I hear your take on TCU, but regardless, every time TCU scored a touchdown or made a field goal, whatever, what did Colorado do? They came right back down and answered with a touchdown or field goal of their own, usually a touchdown. They did not allow that moment to be bigger than I'm trying to think of the way to phrase it.
Well, look who their head coach is. The moment was
Yes,
never too big for
that
Deion Sanders.
yeah.
And
They never let
and
the situation get out of hand. That's the phrase I'm going for.
yes, because their head coach would never let the situation get out of hand. This team embodies Deion Sanders, and they have a staff filled with either Division One college head coaches or former NFL head coaches or former NFL coordinators. They are a veteran staff, and that's key to all this. He has a great staff. Sometimes coaching, we know great coaches. We see great coaching every week, but a lot of it, we all give the credit to the head coach. But a lot of it is, who's doing most of the coaching for the week actually is the position coaches. And it becomes more clear when you lose an OC like Brian Dable in Buffalo and what we've seen from Josh Allen. So I give Sean Lewis a lot of credit for working with Deion's son, Chanel. He's been incredible. He's
Shadar.
definitely
Are
Shadar.
you
Excuse me. He's definitely been a Heisman Trophy candidate, and I'm excited to see where this goes. If they go undefeated, there is absolutely a chance that they can make the college football playoff, and they will give somebody hell. Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, because one or two of those teams are going to make it out of the Big Ten.
yes.
It's going to be very interesting to see this year how they divvy up the four teams. We know Georgia's probably going to be a team. We're guessing Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, two of the three, and the fourth team's a wild card. I would lean towards USC right now, then probably Texas, and then Colorado. Because I don't think that third Big Ten team is going to have enough wins. They're probably going to take one or two losses just based off the schedule. So I don't know. It makes me sad. A little bit off topic, but I think it's a little bit in topic as well. It makes me sad the fact that we have all these great teams. I understand now more teams are going to get an opportunity, but the college football regular season is just going to be ruined now by this expanded playoffs. Think about our last topic. We wouldn't even care about the result of Alabama, Texas, in my opinion, if this was the 12-team football playoff format. Because it'd be, Alabama has one loss. Who cares? They're still going to probably make the CFP. Now it's like Bama loses. The pressure's on. Same thing here with Colorado, where it's like, if they keep winning, they're definitely going to make the CFP. Now it's like you absolutely have to win and just give yourself a shot.
Right. I thought you were going to go in the direction of like the conference realignment because next season the Pac-12 is going to be
I absolutely love it. I think it's going to create better matchups. USC, Ohio State, USC, Penn State, Oregon, Michigan, name whatever you want. Obviously, Texas, Alabama, again, Oklahoma, LSU, whatever combination you want to throw. If this means the college football.
What about Oregon, Rutgers, though? Does that matchup really intrigue you?
No, but you got to have some cupcake somewhere. But if this means that there's going to be more competition throughout the season in college football, if this means the season actually starts in September as opposed to late October, early November for some of these teams, I mean, you're a Penn State fan, when is their first legitimate game?
I mean, you could make an argument that West Virginia was, but let me pull up their schedule because I know this week I'm trying to think who Penn State plays. Penn State is at Illinois. They're a 14.5-point favorite.
So Ohio State, October 21st. Is 7-6 right now. Besides that, they play a bunch of unranked teams.
Correct.
So your first game, in my opinion, because I think Iowa's going to be an okay game, but you should be able to handle them.
That's our whiteout game. Or
Penn State's first game is October 21st. There's something wrong about that when the season starts the first week of September.
Yes. Because you're right. Penn State has at Illinois this week. Illinois can be tricky, but Penn State should take care of business. I love Drew Aller as the quarterback now. Iowa, they're coming into the whiteout. No way is Iowa beating Penn State. At Northwestern, Northwestern's a mess. And then UMass, come on. Penn State's going to whoop them. And then you're right. The first game is at Ohio State on October 21st. But talking about like Colorado, think about what's ahead for them. Not just like, the rest of this season with USC, Oregon, then USC, and they have to finish the season at Utah. That could be a really big
That's a
game.
tough game. That's a tough game.
They still have to play Oregon State too, which Oregon State could give them some problems. I will say that.
By the way, they're going to play UCLA and Chip Kelly as well in UCLA the week before Halloween. That's a tough game. And
yes,
you're playing Oregon at Oregon and then USC at home. That's a tough back-to-back.
That's a really tough back-to-back. But think about this.
But hold on, and then I'll let you go real quick. Think about their resume if they go undefeated. Who they would beat.
Right. Yeah.
But go ahead.
And think about what's coming for them once they move into the Big 12. I know Texas and Oklahoma are on their way out, but you've got Cincinnati, BYU, Kansas State, TCU, West Virginia.
They're not great teams. I could make an argument the Pac-12 is better than that Big 12 list you just named.
Okay.
And I'm not a big fan of the Pac-12 or the Big 12.
So would you prefer let me just ask you this then. You've got Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA all headed for the Big Ten. Would you have preferred Colorado to also join the Big Ten?
God, wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that have been fun?
Yes. I mean, Arizona joined the Big 12, meh. But Utah is also joining the Big 12. That's interesting. I like that.
Utah might be the best team in that conference.
Yes. I'm surprised the SEC hasn't made a lot of moves since, other than adding Texas and Oklahoma.
Well, because their schools are mostly decent, and then adding Texas and Oklahoma is going to be a good thing for them.